Hey, y'all. It's Juanita Coley, the founder of Solid Rock Consulting, where we help call centers implement technology, optimize the technology that they currently have in place, and build better workforce management teams. I want to welcome you to Call Center Chronicles. Call Center Chronicles is a place for CEOs, call center professionals, tech leaders, and yes, the customer, looking to have fun yet thought-provoking conversations around how we improve customer experiences and companies' bottom line. We are on a mission to normalize women in tech and workforce management leadership roles, and we believe that starts with conversation. Welcome to Call Center Chronicles. Hey guys, and welcome back to Call Center Chronicles. We are on season 2, I believe episode 5. One of those, but you can catch the replay and you can tell me which episode we're on. But thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. So let me get my housekeeping out of the way, because you guys know I get so excited about the show that I don't do my housekeeping. So let's do housekeeping really quickly. So for those of you that are tuning in live, okay, we are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So if you're tuning in live, tell me something in the chat, say something in the chat, let me know that you can hear me. We're all good. And thank you so much for tuning in. You could be anywhere and you chose to be with me here today. So I appreciate you, and I am excited to have you with us today. Those of you that are watching on replay, let me know that you were here. Don't watch the show and then don't say nothing. Come on now. Let's do better. Let's do better. Okay. So leave me a comment. I do go back and read the comments because I love to, again, have thought-provoking conversations. So whether that is us having that conversation live, or whether I say something that is insightful or that you disagree with, I love to hear about it. So if you're watching on replay, let me know that you watched on replay and let me know your thoughts. Okay. Also, remember, we have the show every Tuesday at 11 a.m. unless announced otherwise. Okay. So make sure that you're here with us on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. for our live show. And then if you have a guest that I should be interviewing, make sure you visit us at solidrockco.net/CCC. Okay, that's how you can submit to be a guest on the show, or submit topics that we should be talking about on Call Center Chronicles. Again, I'm creating the show because I want to talk to you about things that you find insightful, and also share my experiences of working in contact centers and for contact centers. So those are all of my approved announcements. You can tell I'm a church baby, right? Those are all my approved announcements for this morning. Anywho, I want to hop right in, okay? So let me see. I think I have a little bit of feedback, but I'm not sure if that's me or if that's my audio. So let me just check this real quick. 1 second, guys. This is a live show, so this is what we love about doing live video. Let's see. I think I'm good. All right, I think I'm good. Nevertheless, so production guy. Okay, there we go. Yep, feedback is good. All right, so now on for today's topics. Okay, so let's talk about tech topics. We have our tech topics segment, which is tech topics that are doing amazing things in the technology. So my very first tech topic for you guys today is, I was reading an article about Sonatus, I believe. Sonatus is partnering with Hyundai. Okay, so y'all know I went over the top on this. Sonatus is a software company that provides data insights and all of those good things. And they're partnering with Hyundai, the motor vehicle company, to be able to have more data insights around, whether that's around your driving patterns or whether that's around whatever. The full story hasn't come out, right? I just started reading about this. And I thought how amazing that is. Of course, I know we're going to have our people that are like, I don't want them tracking my stuff. I don't want them tracking me like that? Why are you so excited? Well, the reason I'm so excited about it is because I think the more data we have, the more insight we have to be able to make more intelligent decisions. And so that's one of my tech topics for today is Sonatus, which is a software company, is partnering with Hyundai to be able to put this piece of software in the, I believe, Genesis line that Hyundai has. So one of the articles reads, that Sonatus, which is a digital dynamic software solutions, will be partnering with Hyundai to build out their extensive capabilities for flexible vehicle data collection and monitoring, as well as with the cloud management of in-vehicle network management and optimization. So not only will these vehicles, not only will the Hyundai line, Genesis specifically, be able to have data capabilities to see insights to maybe driving patterns and be able to assist, right? But also this is available in the cloud, which means that this is not on-prem to just the vehicle. This is, your data will be available in the cloud. So whether you have a team that's driving for the first time, you'll be able to log in and see that insight and that data to keep them safe. So while I'm sure there are people out there that's like, no, this is a no for me because all of the insights and the data, this also does provide some very valuable benefits that I can see long-term as this software develops and this partnership solidifies. So congratulations to Sonatus and Hyundai on your partnership. I think that is super cool. Next tech topic that I have for you this morning is TalkDesk. So TalkDesk is a CCaaS provider that has contact center solutions where you can pick up the phone. It enables contact centers or call centers to be able to have a phone, basically a phone system for those of you that are not contact center savvy, right? So it's a phone system. So in order for your contact center to receive phone calls, emails or chats or all of those different things, you have to have technology. Well, TalkDesk is one of those technology platforms, and they just raised $230 million in their, I think, Series D funding round. So congratulations to them. They're up from a $6 billion valuation to I think 10 million it was that I was reading in the article. So congratulations to you guys for that. I thought that was super cool. Obviously, they're expanding in their capabilities and what they're able to do. So congratulations to TalkDesk. My last tech topic that I have for you this morning is Task Us. So you guys know one of my initiatives is, or one of my interests are normalizing women in tech and in leadership roles. And I always say that starts with conversation and starts with our youth. We first have to start having conversation around why more women aren't involved in technology. And then we also have to start getting our youth involved. And so Task Us has a Youth International Day that I saw that they were having. And so I thought that was amazing because, again, that's something that I'm interested in, is making sure that women get involved in technology, and that starts with the youth. So those are my tech topics for today. Next up is amazing people doing amazing things. So amazing people doing amazing things, right? So first shout out goes to Nadia McKinney at LinkedIn. So I saw that, and while I'm sure this was a whole initiative across the organization or the leadership team, I saw that Nadia was the one who posted it. So she was promoting for it and advocating for it, and she talked about it. So this is why I chose Nadia. So Nadia at LinkedIn was talking about the importance of half days and work-life balance. And LinkedIn on Fridays, they have half days during the summer to promote that work-life balance. And that is so important. And I was impressed that she was advocating for this and talking about some of the things that she's doing on her half days to not only have work-life balance, but to become a better leader and evolve. I think that it's one thing for an organization to have half days so that they are promoting work-life balance, but I think it's a whole nother thing when the employees then take the initiative to evolve and become better as employees. So she was reading a book. I don't recall the book at the time, but she was doing self-development on her half day. So I thought that was pretty cool and something to be commended. So congratulations, Nadia, on your on the half day, and congratulations, LinkedIn, for being a leader in the space for doing so. Then we have Mike Hawk. Mike Hawk was just recently announced as a channel manager rock star for TCG. TCG is a channel partner, and they acknowledged Mike Hawk as a channel manager rock star. So, Mike Hawk, congratulations. Keep doing what you're doing to be a channel manager rock star. And then last but definitely not least, I have Takara. I'm sorry in advance, okay? I am sorry because I know I'm probably going to jack up your last name, but there's so many Takaras out there. I got to at least try so that you know I'm talking about you, right? It's Balgobine, okay, is the last name that I'm pronouncing it as, okay? Congratulations for your employee spotlight at Maximus, for being for your professional growth in project management. I thought that was amazing because I do a lot of contact center consulting and technology consulting, and so I'm dealing with project managers, or interacting. Dealing sounds like so negative, but I'm interacting with project managers all the time, and I can tell you from experience that all project managers are not created equally. And so congratulations on your employee spotlight and everything that you're doing on your projects to push Maximus forward, and that they acknowledge you in that arena. So congratulations to all of our amazing people doing amazing things. So congratulations to Nadia, congratulations to Mike, and congratulations to Takara. So that concludes our amazing people doing amazing things. So you guys know that we have, this show is titled, if you didn't catch the title of the show, is called When Customer Service Turns into Customer Experience. And so you guys know I'm always talking about customer experience and all of those good things, and how that impacts the overall, or how the agent experience impacts the customer experience. And I began to think about what customer experience is and what is the line between customer service and customer experience, and if there's even a difference. And so today we have Jay Jackson. Let me first set this up, okay? Jay Jackson is a serial entrepreneur, okay? So he is the CEO of RYSE Creative Village. He is CEO of RYSE Magazine. He's just doing so many amazing things, and I've watched him for quite some time, and some of the things that he's done in the community, some of the things that he's done in his business. And as I was thinking through this particular show, I was thinking through how marketing and how you interact with your customer or your end user impacts the customer experience or the customer journey. So I figured who would be better to talk about that than a serial entrepreneur, but also someone who has multiple different types of businesses. And so without further ado, I would like to welcome to our front, Jay Jackson. Jay, thanks so much for being with us today. I appreciate you taking the time out to hang out with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Jay, tell us, so, again, I tell everybody all the time, these interviews, before we look up, it's going to be an hour in. So I love to just hop into the show and we'll go from there. Sounds good?
No, I'm following your lead.
Okay, cool.
And I love the show. Let me add. I absolutely love the show. I'm very professional. I'm impressed, highly impressed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The team, I really can't take too much credit. I told you that, right? Other than showing up and having an idea for the show, they make it happen. So definitely thank you. And thanks to the team. I know you guys are watching. So let's hop right in. Jay, for those that do not know you, tell us a little bit more about you and what you do over at your companies.
No, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been First started my first company was a real estate company actually, and I did well in real estate. It began investing in other small mom and pop businesses, and then ultimately launched RYSE, our current company, in 2011. And so RYSE is a media and marketing company. We've been in the media and marketing space, for quite some time, and we work with everything from corporate brands to small businesses to help them, really understand how to connect authentically with niche demographics. And so that's kind of at the core of what we do as a media company.
Yeah, and don't leave out Jay now, because I know, right? So don't leave out the corporate brands that you've worked with. Tell us some of these brands that you worked with.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm thankful to say, Pepsi is a brand that we've worked with, State Farm, BB&T Bank. We work with AT&T, and so I'm proud, and that's a small list of the companies that we've done quite a bit of work with. So truly excited. But at the core of what we do, we're about telling dynamic and empowering stories of what I like to call the silent giants. And so that's at the core of what we're doing. We are storytellers. And so, we're excited about everything that we're doing and the evolution of the company itself.
Which is why I think it's amazing about the Creative Village. Tell me how you came up with the Creative Village.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, we're working on an exciting project here in Atlanta. So I'm based out of Atlanta, and as I mentioned, we've been around since 2011 and have worked with a number of different brands. And in 2016, we decided to move the company and expand to a much larger market, which is what brought us to Atlanta. And when we moved the company to Atlanta, one of the things that I fell in love with is just the creative industry. There's so much creativity, flowing through the city. And then one another thing that really intrigued me was just the fact that you had so much production work that is happening here. Everything that you can think of is being filmed here from a film production perspective, and as a result of our work with a lot of up and coming creators, when we're working on projects for Georgia Power and companies like that, I work with a lot of these up and coming creators, and as I'm working with these creators, I would talk to them about these opportunities that were happening in the film production realm, and just the creative arts realm, and I'd say to them, I know you're getting connected to all of this, the opportunities that are flowing through the market. And one thing that we know about creators is that they're very talented, but don't always understand business. And so we hear a lot of times, well, I don't even know how to get connected to those opportunities. And as a result, I said, well, we need to find a way that we can curate these creative, talented people, cultivate them, help them, develop their skills even greater, and then get connected to opportunities in the industry. Because we're all about, as the name of our company says, we're all about people rising to the top in whatever it is that they're doing. And so that's how we came up with the idea and the vision for RYSE Creative Village, which is the evolution of our company, RYSE.
So what I love, one of the things that you said about kind of the mission of RYSE, which is to tell the story of those individuals, companies that may not be even as visible as your Pepsis or, some of the larger brands, right? What do you think, right? Is there a difference between when you're telling that story? How do you think that impacts the ability to be able to tell that story? So let me rephrase this question. How do you think the ability to be able to tell that story, whether it's for a smaller company or a larger company, the ability to be able to tell that story impacts the end user customer experience?
Oh man, storytelling is at the core of what it takes to begin building a brand, right? Because building a brand, and that's really where you mentioned customer experience. It boils down to the brand and what is the perception that the customer has of your brand. And so being able to tell the stories of the company, the people that work within the company, and that's what we like to do. We don't always. I mean, you have the major media outlets that focus on spotlighting the CEO and the top C-suite executives, but the people that are making the engine turn. That's who we like to focus on, kind of that middle management and especially the talent of color. And so, it really humanizes the company. It really begins to, people understand, okay, well, this isn't just a corporate brand. This is people work at this company. People work for this company, and people that look like you and I, right? And people that want to make a difference and want to have an impact. And those are the people that are within the company that are coming up with the initiatives and things like that impact the customer on the back end. And so, that's why it's so important to tell those stories. It's so important to spotlight those people. And a lot of times those people, as I said earlier, I like to call them the silent giants. They are the ones who don't always get recognized, but they are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, as we even experience it in my company. And even as you mentioned about, when I complimented you on the show and you talked about, well, this is my team, right? This is my team. And yet people see you're the face of it. But, there's a lot of people behind the scenes within, even producing a show like this that make it happen and that impact the customer's experience. And so those are the people that we like to shine a light on.
Yeah, no, that's good. You said a lot of good nuggets, but what I really honed in on is setting expectation. I think telling those user stories, and how it impacts the customer experience is by really setting the expectation. Because if you can articulate a story well, then I can set the customer expectation before there even really is one, right? And I can say, hey, this is the story behind the brand. This is what they do, why they do it. So now when the customer calls in for customer service or whatever the case may be, they already have an expectation set based on those set of stories that you've told, right? So we think about the story that Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A need to sponsor me, okay? Let's just pause there for a second, because I'm always talking about Chick-fil-A on the show.
Because they got it, because they have it down.
But absolutely. You think about the stories that they tell, even in their customer experience. I mean, in their customer story or in their marketing, the story that they tell sets that expectation that if you even go to the store as a customer and you receive poor service, you're like, hold on, wait a minute. This is not the Chick-fil-A that I know, because they've already set that expectation through telling stories about what they believe in and what the model is, and through the cow saying, eat more chicken. And so they have a humor to them. They have, they have this kind of, expectation that's already been set. So that's kind of what I hear you saying through, the importance of telling stories. How that impacts the customer experience is that it sets the proper expectation on onset. I think that's pretty neat. That's the power of telling stories.
Yeah, no, you are 100% correct. And so that's what we specialize in. And stories also are something that people are relatable, really relatable to. I always say this: at the core, man, no matter how young we are, no matter how old we are, we all love a great story, right? And it's something that draws us in, and that's usually how you can begin to get people engaged. And then from there, we can begin to showcase and whatever it is, from there that you want to showcase to your customers. So absolutely. And I love your analogy with regards to Chick-fil-A, because I mean, just their customer experience in itself, they've really honed down. And to your point, going back to the story, to the narrative, to the moment you pull up in the drive-through, I mean, and what you experience from that perspective, it is all crafted. It is all crafted, and it's all very intentional as to how they do it. And so that's
another good one. Very intentional, right? So I think as we're telling those stories, you have to be intentional about what my customer. So you have to already think about what you want that customer experience to be, and be intentional with creating the stories that are going to drive that emotion, going to drive whatever that is to create that customer experience. Tell me this, do you think that there is a difference between customer service and customer experience?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Customer service, if I think about customer service, you know, it's the interaction. It's really the interaction between the people, the people at the company, and then the end user. So, right, that's customer service. And if I have a problem, I'm dealing with customer service to solve that problem. Right. But customer experience is everything from even if you're an online, retailer that never really talks to the customer, the experience that the customer is having as they visit your website, that is an experience, right? That is an experience. That's not necessarily service, but just the experience. What is that experience when I go to your website? Is it cumbersome? Is it difficult? Is it hard for me to navigate? Is it hard for me to find information to for what I'm looking for, right? What is that experience when I pull into a parking lot? So now we're talking about, if we're talking about physical businesses, when I pull into the parking lot, the customer experience starts from that perspective, from that point, right? And, is it hard for me to find? Like, do you have signage that makes it easy for me to find? When I pull into the parking lot, do I feel safe? Is it a bunch of people standing outside, and making me, nervous to go in? And is the parking lot clean? Is the storefront clean? Right? All of that to me is customer experience. And so, and that is, that is giving unspoken, people are analyzing this in their head without a word even being said. And so I guess that's what I'm trying to articulate. And so that customer experience is so important.
That's so good. I've never thought about it like that. And kind of what I hear you saying there is, like, when I think about, from what you just said, now when I think about customer experience versus customer service, I'm going to think tangible versus intangible.
Yes,
right. So
absolutely.
Customer service is that tangible. I pick up the phone, I'm calling because I have a problem and I'm getting a result. That's something tangible, right? I'm chatting so I can get a result. I'm sending in an email and I'm going to get a result. I'm going to get an answer. Those are my tangibles. Exactly. And when I think about experience now, I'm thinking about the intangibles, the signage. Is it easy to find? When I go to the website, can I navigate the website easily? The emotion behind the brand and what I feel about the customer journey, how I get through from point A to point B. Those are kind of your intangibles, but they're so critical to the business.
No, absolutely. And I always like to do this whole juxtapose, to help people understand. So you mentioned, Chick-fil-A earlier. So I'm going to use that as an experience. And I'm also going to use, kind of juxtapose it to, Popeyes. And so we know, I don't know if it was a year ago or so when, Popeyes had this big craze because of the chicken sandwich, right? And so you think about the experience, right? You think about the experience with Chick-fil-A, right? And so when you pull into Chick-fil-A, yes, it might have a line, but you notice that they're doing everything possible to try to make sure you navigate. They'll have people out there, standing out there before you get to the window, taking your order, navigating you through the process. And it's just really a seamless process. So even though they have a ton of cars, right, you don't even feel like it's such a heavy weight, and you feel like you're like, okay, well, this isn't bad. I'm going to just jump in line. And then you may go to Popeyes, and and I say this because maybe a week or so ago I went to Popeyes and I pulled in, and the line was stagnant. It was just sitting. And I'm like, man, this is taking forever to get through this line, right? And then I get to the window, and not to the window, but I get to the microphone, and then the customer service. Now I'm dealing with the customer service and the interaction. It isn't pleasant. And then I get to the window, and then my order's wrong, and and I'm not trying to pick on Popeyes, but I'm just trying to show how the experience, right? The experience was me even sitting in the car waiting, right? And I'm waiting in both scenarios, but it's just a different experience. And so while everybody was all a craze over the Popeye sandwich, I'm like, man, I'm gonna stick with Chick-fil-A. That experience, the experience itself is just a much better experience. So
I'll go when the lines die down, because I'm not gonna play with y'all. No, but
even when the lines die down, it's still like, why is it taking forever? It's not like 2 cars here, right? So
that is so amazing, because again, I always think in terms of contact center, but I always have my customer experience hat on as well. And what you just described really is when you think about an IVR, so the interactive voice response, the piece of technology for contact centers, or the ACD, when you call in, like to your bank or whatever, and it says, would you, your hold time is 3 minutes, we can offer your call back, right? That's Chick-fil-A. Or when it says you're number 3 out of 346 callers, where you are. You're number 3 out of 5 callers. You're next, you're 2 away from a customer service rep. That's Chick-fil-A, right? Because that's what Chick-fil-A is doing when they're, even though the line is, I can't go to Chick-fil-A and the line's not wrapped around the building, right? I don't know if it's because I'm in this small city. I'm in Polk County, so I'm in Florida. And so we got one Chick-fil-A, right? So I don't know if it's that or if it's just Chick-fil-A everywhere, right? But I can't go to Chick-fil-A and the line not wrapped around the building. But I always know where I am, and I always feel like someone's attending to me because they got the people out there with their raincoats. They got people out there with the umbrellas. They got people out there with their tablets like, hey, thank you for coming to Chick-fil-A, and we'll be with you momentarily. And this is where you are in relation, versus if I'm at another chain, it's like, okay, this is what we doing today, so, pray my strength, I got to do a whole prayer in the line, so that I can still be together when I get out in line, so
absolutely.
I think that is when we're talking about customer experience versus customer service. That's the difference, right? Customer service is pretty much that tangible. It's at the end, but we really want to, as companies, create a customer experience, which in order to create great customer experience, I really think you have to think about the whole journey.
You do. You absolutely do. And to your point, Chick-fil-A, the line is wrapped around no matter where it's located at. It's wrapped around, but because they've created an experience that's pleasant for people. And so it's like, okay, well, I can do business with them. They have good food, but I can also the experience, and I know what to expect, and it's going to be a pleasant experience. And that's across the board, which, no matter which Chick-fil-A you go to as well. So that just shows that they've really honed down and really created a they were very intentional, as I shared earlier, and I'll even speak to our company, RYSE. And so with this project, RYSE Creative Village, we're and I didn't get into the details of exactly what we're doing, but we're taking this former Atlanta public school property that we purchased. So we purchased this property, and we're developing it into this content production studio and development incubator for creatives in the film, music, and digital media industry, and gaming is along with that. And so being able to provide these creatives with a place to work out of, an affordable place to work out of, access to the latest and greatest technological tools that they can use to create content, and then getting them connected to greater opportunities in the industry. So so we're very, very intentional about how we are, what we're doing as well. And as a result, I mean, we're going through the development process, and we built our website, and I was very, very intentional about the website and the experience on the website. So to your point, the whole experience, that starts with, well, let me find out a little bit more about this RYSE Creative Village. And you go to rysecreativevillage.com, and there's an experience that you're going to, when you visit there, right, you're going to understand what we're doing and the type of activities that will be taking place there. And then we even tell a story about the school itself, and the fact that this was a former, Atlanta public school, elementary school, and when it closed, and what, the history behind the school. And it's really about giving you an entire, we want to tell the story so that you're really understanding, okay, well, not only is this project impactful, but they're revitalizing an area that has been underserved for far too long. And so it just gives you the whole gamut of the impact that we intend to have with the school, and And so we're very intentional about all of that. If that makes sense.
No, and that was actually going to be my next question, right? I was just going to ask. So, how does marketing play a part in the customer experience? And so, you started to allude to that, but I want you to expand on that about how you went into RYSE Village, even starting at the website and starting to say, okay, if my potential student or even donor or whomever, because you have different audiences, right? And different people that are going to engage with the business. How does marketing, right, play a role in the customer experience?
Man, marketing plays a big role because it is, again, about branding, and marketing and branding. They really go hand in hand. And so it's about, let me step back a second. We thought about, okay, well, who is our end user, right? Who is it that we want to attract? Who is it that we want to engage with what we're doing? We need to understand who they are, right? We need to understand exactly who they are. And then that can help us develop, the brand around what we're doing, right? And so we started with that. And as we began to, and as a result of that, we began to, speak to that audience and engage that audience and say, hey, what would you like to see? What would you like to, see within this space? We began to have, focus groups with them at the property and have, people come out to the property that we envision using the space and say to us, hey, tell us what you need, or tell us what you would like to see here. Tell us what is missing that you would love to have access to. Yes. And that actually helped us evolve the project even more. So that's where we started off, just buying this former Atlanta public school property, and then we had this additional land. So we got about 2 acres of land that is just vacant land, and we were like, okay, well, we'll build some more sound stages. And so as we began talking to the creatives and saying, okay, well, what else do you need? And they said, well, if you had some affordable housing here, and we can live on site and work out of here at the same time. And it was like, okay, well, wow, I hadn't thought about that. And then, we began to work on that plan. And so that helped us understand what it is that we needed to do and how we needed to serve the audience. And then from there, that helped us develop a marketing campaign. And so the marketing campaign, just really consisted of telling the stories of these up and coming creators that will be working out of here and saying, hey, this is a home for them. They're using it to create and build and develop. And so, that's how we attract more people like that. And so we haven't even started construction, but we already have people that are renting the building. And it's just a vacant kind of warehouse style building right now until we start construction. And we're already booked, 5-6 days a week with smaller productions that are taking place on site. Yeah. And so that all boiled down to building that brand, talking to the audience, understanding what they needed, what they wanted. And then from there, giving them more of what they wanted.
Man, you said something. Yeah. So good. It's so good, because as I think about marketing and understanding who your audience is, that's the first thing that you started to talk about, right? Because I can't give you something that you don't want.
Exactly.
Right. And I can't give you something you want if I don't know who you are. Right. Like you begin to say, you started to talk about, okay, we got 2 extra acres of land. So we was going to just throw some studio sound stages over there. And he was like, well, wait a minute, what about housing? Right. So you would have gave them sound stages and not gave them housing, and they would have been like, okay, that's cool, but we need somewhere to stay, so knowing who your audience is, I think, is so important to creating the customer experience that you really want. So if your bottom line is to create a customer experience where people feel safe and they feel like they have access to the resources that they need and the tech that they need, then you first got to talk to them, right? Which is our marketing, right? Talking to them, finding out who they are, what they need, what their need is.
Market research.
Yeah, all of that market
research.
Yeah. And then creating that and creating a campaign to let them know that this now exists. Right. So I think that's how marketing, from what I heard you say, plays a part or a role in the customer experience is knowing who they are. Tell me, in your opinion, why do you think customer experience is so important? Like, why is this a thing? This is a huge initiative that I think across every industry, I see so many people and companies talking about customer experience, CX. CX is, the term that they've given it. Why do you think that that's so important?
Well, I mean, it's extremely important because there's a lot of competition out there, right? There's a lot of options for people. And so if you're not taking the entire customer experience into consideration, then you're just going to lose business, right? You're not going to be able to compete. It's not about price. It's not always about price or, who is the cheapest, right? You can actually charge more. Chick-fil-A is not the cheapest fast food restaurant, right? You can charge more if you're focusing on delivering a certain experience, right? And so that's really why it's so important, because if the experience is just bad, then that may cause me not even want to do business with you at all,
Yeah.
right? That when I mentioned Popeyes earlier, and just using that analogy again, I think twice now. If I get hungry and I'm on the road and and I'm like, do I want to sit and wait in that line? Do I want to deal with that poor customer service, right? And I think about you have to understand customer experience just in the business world, because there's competition, and the competition may not even be just in your local area, right? Competition is global now, right? You're dealing with globalization, and so just understanding, okay, well, now people don't necessarily have to physically do business with me. They could be doing business with somebody in a whole other country, and and I could be losing from that particular perspective. And so, that's why it is definitely important to understand customer experience, understand your customer, and then deliver on that. And I always say, man, sometimes bad things happen, right? Sometimes the order doesn't, they don't get the order right. You don't get the product that you order, or it doesn't fit, or it doesn't, for whatever the reason it might be. But see, that experience is also, how is the problem rectified, right? How is the problem rectified? And so, if something doesn't go as planned, with me, and something I purchase, or, some business I want to do business with, problems arise. But how do you deal with it? Is it cumbersome to deal with you, and deal with that process? Do I feel like, I'm becoming a burden because, you don't want to deal with it, or when it's time to purchase something, it's an easy process, but when it's time to make a return, it's a difficult process, right? And you're going to have me on hold forever, right? Well, you got all your customer service dealing with the purchase process. And so, all of that is customer experience, right? If I have to take something back, or I have a problem, if you deal with the problem in a way that makes me feel good, like, okay, well, I felt heard, number one, and then I was able to get the problem rectified, then that leaves me, favorable with regards to dealing with that company. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't get what I needed, but they rectified the problem very fast. They found a solution, and we were able to move forward. And that gives me a positive experience.
Man, you dropped so many gems right there. I was trying to make sure I was focusing and paying attention, because I was about to be over here like I was about to be like, let me take this. Okay, let me take a note. No, but that is so good. Making sure that, one, customer experience impacts that bottom line. I don't care what you say, it's going to impact that bottom line. So, one, I think customer experience is so important, because either you're going to do it and you're going to do a good job, or I'm going to go somewhere else, even if that's at the cost of, or at the expense of costing me more as a customer, right? And then I think it's just the right thing to do, right? No one wants to spend their hard-earned money for trash, a trash experience. Like, I'm not going to spend my money with you, and consumers are getting smarter and wiser about their options that they have available to them. The internet, right, made that so possible for us to be able to do comparisons.
Absolutely.
Right. Like, okay, well, I don't want to go here because this, and it is the experience. What's an alternative to going here? So I think that customer experience allows, it's so important because not only does it impact your bottom line, but now it's just the right thing to do, which is why one of our core values, or I think both of them that really matter as it relates to this topic, we have 5, but the 2 that I think matters here is integrity and then accountability. Like you said, things are going to happen. I think for the most part, customers are typically reasonable, right? Yeah. We're not dealing with robots. So there is always going to be a margin of error, but how you handle that, right? How did you say, okay, this is the issue that presented itself, and now this is how I'm going to rectify this to make sure that, one, you don't feel like you're bothering me, because I messed up, right? I messed up. Now I make you feel like as a customer, you bothering me. Right. So now I'm on hold for 1,000 years or whatever the case may be. It's very cumbersome to return the product that I shouldn't have gotten in the first place. Right. So I think those are some key things of why customer experience, and that we think through as companies that customer experience, and we are able to articulate and differentiate between customer service and customer experience. They are 2 different things. The more and more I think about it now, I'm like, these are 2 different things, and they have impacts on each other. We have to be thinking about them as companies as 2 different things and making sure that we are creating an experience for both.
No, you are 100% correct. And as we're on the show, Call Center Chronicles, I think about my daughter who, while she was in college, she worked at several call centers, and she worked for this one company that was, a pool company. And she talked about, how much she didn't like the job, right? She didn't like the job because she said, Daddy, this company, their customer experience is just very poor, and as a result, on the back end, she's dealing with the call center, dealing with the getting the calls when they're trying to get the pool. Their people are having problems with their pools. There's above ground pool company, and as they're having problems with the pools, the experience that they've had is so bad that it makes her job very difficult on the back end. As she's dealing with these customers, because it's like, okay, well, these promises were given to me and they're not being delivered. And now I'm having problems. And now you're just trying to nickel and dime me for every single thing. And, how much repeat business or how much referral business do you think this company is getting as a result of just that whole poor experience? They're over promising, under delivering. And then when there is a problem, that will cost you, that's extra. We don't include that with our warranty. That's, and so that is just an example. And I mean, it made it difficult on her, and she had to quit, right? She quit. She said, I can't even take it, because this company, I don't like how they're doing business. And as a result, it's adding stress on me as an employee of this company now because of just the poor experience. And it just could be handled so much more different, to the point where, I mean, if they're delivering a unique and dynamic, and positive customer experience, they can charge even more for their product and then be able to warranty it more and have less problems just down the road. And so, customer experience definitely drives your business, and it brings more business your way.
Yeah, that is so good, because as you begin to talk about that, I begin to think about, again, the contact center experience and how a poor customer experience or poor executed or thought out customer experience strategy really does impact the customer service agent. Right. Like now I got every phone call I get on, I got to get cussed out because the person been waiting on hold 45 minutes, or they got promised something that you didn't deliver on, or whatever the case may be. So again, a poorly thought out customer experience has a direct correlation and a direct impact to your agent experience. And again, we've talked about this so many times, or your employee experience if you're not a customer, a contact center, right? An employee is never going to treat the customer better than they're being treated. So if the employee, the agent, isn't being treated well because every phone call they got to get on, they're stressed out, they're getting cussed out because you, the CEO or COO or whoever thought out the experience strategy, didn't think that out, then now that's having a direct impact on your employees. And so now you're having a staffing issue because you can't retain people. It's just a full, it's just a full circle. This is so good. Customer service. When does customer service turn into customer experience, and are they the same? So this is the conversation that I wanted to talk through today. And Jay, when I tell you, you came through with the content on today. Great show. We have Adriana in the comments. She is sounding off. Let's see. These are some of the comments. Let's see what we have here. Want to read some of these. I love when we have guests. One of my favorite nuggets I've learned from Juanita is about people, like knowing and trusting you. If the customer ain't happy, you're probably going to kiss your biz goodbye. These nuggets y'all are discussing are so vital. So true, Adriana. Thanks so much for chiming in on the chat today. Let's see. SRC customer experience is bar none. Yeah, I see some of the comments that she's leaving. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. For those of you, again, that are tuning in on replay, make sure that you leave us a comment in the chat if you agree or if you have some insights on any of the topics that we've talked about today. Again, I go back through the comments. I'm sure Jay will be going back through the comments and reading some of the insights that you guys had. Super excited. So, Jay, I have another question for you. It's my last question. I told you this hour, it just goes by so quick. Can you believe we've been on 53 minutes already? Yeah. Leave us with a word of wisdom, a nugget that you would leave us around customer service or customer experience.
Oh, a nugget of wisdom. That's a great question. I would say the same thing like I said earlier. Get to know who your key customer is, right? Get to know who they are, and then talk to them, communicate with them, gain insight from them. The good, the bad, and the ugly, right? The good, the bad. You want it all, because you want to make sure that what they're experiencing is what you want them to be experiencing. And if it's not, you need to know so that you can make the proper corrections, so that you're making sure that your customers are getting the experience that you want them to have, and therefore that just creates a whole great environment all the way around, and it certainly will help you grow your business. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that nugget that you left. I was reading a book by Brad Cleveland about customer experience. And one of the things that he talks about in the book is about getting, surveys. And so many times companies' surveys are skewed because they only are collecting a portion of the information or just the good insights, right? But I love how you said the good, the bad, the indifferent. You have to collect all of that so that you can have a holistic approach to creating that customer strategy, the customer experience strategy. Like you said, when you were doing the survey on what they wanted at RYSE Creative Village, you were on a sound stage and they were like, well, what about affordable housing, right? And so if you hadn't taken the time to do that, then you would be out there with your sound stage. And while I'm sure it would be glorious, it's not necessarily what the customer really wanted. So I think that is so spot on. You got a lot of gems this show. Okay. I gotta get a gem award or something like that.
I'm just talking. Definitely talking from experience, because we learned a lot over time, through our business. So I'm happy to share and thankful that you all had me on.
Well, Jay, hang out with us in the green room and I'll be right over. I'm gonna wrap up the show, okay?
Absolutely.
OMG, okay? Fantabulous. Y'all know I make up words, okay? Fantabulous show. I absolutely love this show because, again, I was thinking about this. I have been pondering this in my head, and customer service, customer experience, customer service, customer experience. They're so close, yet so vastly different. And you guys know I love to have conversations that make the brain tingle and inspire us to change. And so now we are one thing we're sure on is that customer service and customer experience are definitely two different things. And I think we have a good understanding on how we can go about each. Listen, for those of you, again, that are watching in the replay, that's almost like saying, in the Facebook, right? Like, but anyway, okay. Those of you that are watching on replay, make sure you leave me a comment. I cannot wait to hear your feedback on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, Juanita Coley signing off. Bye.